Hey everybody, what's going on? Fabian for Liberty, Internet Anchorman TV. You know, I must say this is probably going to be one of the most important videos that I have done in, quite frankly, a long time, if not the most important video. Now, I know you tune in to watch my episodes and watch my show, not because I'm giving you what the mainstream media gives you, which is a bunch of crap. I mean, I could have started this off with saying, hey, Paula Abdul booted from The X Factor, tune in tonight at 7 o'clock, or NBC drops the Donkey Seaman episode for Fear Factor, or who's going to win, Newt Gingrich, Mitt Romney, Gingrich or Romney's Cayman accounts, Cayman Islands accounts. All of it is just noise that is, again, a bunch of crap. It doesn't mean anything. Yet the question I continue to ask myself, and I know the answer, but it's so startling, so in your face, is why does the media not cover the biggest, most significant issues facing America, facing the globe, probably since the events of World War II, if not World War I, okay? The hyperinflation of the Weimar Republic, the Hitler taking over Europe, unbelievable, unprecedented events, not just myself, but people like George Soros and many others talking about this is one of the most historic time periods that we are living in. And to rephrase this, or to put it very simply, it's global revolution, global economic collapse, global war. I've been talking about those 3 points now for the last 3 years because that is what we face. Many of this has already begun and is so obvious. You just need to look and link and connect the dots. But today's video is going to lay the foundation, lay the groundwork for what I believe is this global reset that is taking place. Okay? We are in the midst, we are living through a time where things are about to significantly change forever. It's a global reset. Now, we can look back at global resets of the past. I'd say probably the biggest one, although you could argue 1971 when we went off the gold standard was a big reset. We went from a currency backed by gold to a complete fiat currency backed by only the full faith and credit of the United States, which, I don't know about you, I don't really have that much faith in them because they're a bunch of liars and criminals. Just saying. But I definitely believe that would be Bretton Woods after World War II, which was a tremendous event. I mean, it completely changed the world. And thereafter, we had Bretton Woods, which created the dollar as the world reserve currency, created the IMF, created the World Bank, and America came out, or they basically left the conference, emerged as the global force, the world leader. We had the world reserve currency. We had the #1 manufacturing base. We had everything going for us at the time. We were the biggest creditor nation in the world. Today, we're the biggest debtor nation in the history of the world. But things changed with Bretton Woods. So when George Soros, a few years ago, or last year, called for a new Bretton Woods and has been calling for it for 2 years, that's something that I'm going to pay attention to. And I covered this at length when it happened, but I want to revisit that with comments by Timothy Geithner, with comments by Vladimir Putin, with actions that are taking place with China, with recent developments between India and Iran, and many, many more that show us that the global reset is taking place. It's at our doorstep. And like many times with these issues, by the time the American people find out, it'll be completely too late. In fact, by the time the American people find out, everything will already have happened. And so that's why you need to pay attention and wake up to what's happening. A few years ago, George Soros started talking about Bretton Woods. He needed a new Bretton Woods. In fact, he came out on record setting up what he called, quote, we needed a, quote, a grand bargain that rearranges the entire financial order. This was his comments in 2009. Soros committed $50 million to the Institute for New Economic Thinking. Doesn't that sound great? Amidst calls of, which now are on a weekly basis, heard from the shills behind Occupy Wall Street, or the majority of the people that are running that we need a new financial order. Capitalism has failed. I mean, we've heard this from every major EU leader. We've heard it from the leaders in South America. We've heard it globally from the IMF, from the World Bank, that capitalism as we know it has failed, most recently in Davos. We need a new form of capitalism. We need a new system that is technocratic, a la Italy or Greece, the way they've run those countries. That's what we need to implement here. Now, a week later, the lefty investor, this is from Fox News, wrote a column calling for a new Bretton Woods event to recreate the one that had helped design the post-World War II economy. Only he wants to knock America down a peg or two. Quoting George Soros, we need to establish new international rules, quote, and reform the currency system. Now, one of the major players of the Bretton Woods agreement was John Maynard Keynes. Now, there is the Keynesian school of economics, there is the Austrian school of economics, which I believe in, right? It's savings is what creates wealth, okay? You can't continue to print money because you're going to cause massive inflation. Government cannot stimulate the economy, okay? It's a fallacy that has been pushed by Keynesian economists like Larry Summers, like Tim Geithner, like Obama, like George Soros, and the list goes on and on. Paul Krugman. These guys are, it's a system that is really deceitful. And here's why it's deceitful. Here's quoting John Maynard Keynes from his position on printing money, on inflation. Quote, by a continuing process of inflation, government can confiscate secretly and unobserved an important part of the wealth of their citizens. That's what's happening right now. Not only is the middle class an endangered species, they're literally on the endangered species list in America, but via the inflation and the money printing of the United States, most recently just last week, the Fed announcing that they're going to continue to keep interest rates at next to nothing because the economy is not turning around. So more massive amounts of dollars being printed in order to pay for everything. Huge government deficits, huge bailouts taking place secretly. Now we know the Fed on record gave out over $14 trillion. No one voted for it. Your congressman didn't have a chance to participate in that discussion whatsoever. The dollar is being devalued. This is part of a plan. It's part of a plan that Soros continues to call for. And again, he's just one of the guys that's out on record talking about this. Now, one of the things that, by the way, Soros' talk at the Bretton Woods event last year was called, the name of the speech was called, The Emerging Economic and Political Order. How are they going to reach this political order? Well, from chaos comes the New World Order. This was Time magazine just a few years ago when Obama was elected, Barack Obama's New World Order. And in here it talks about how Barack Obama at almost every stop has made clear that the US is but one actor in the global economy. Talk of the American economic supremacy has been replaced by a call from Obama for more growth in developing countries. Two American reporters asked Obama for his response to the claim by then Prime Minister Gordon Brown, quote, Washington's consensus is over, is what Gordon Brown had said. Obama all but agreed with Brown, noting that the phrase had its roots in a significant set of economic policies that had shown itself to be imperfect, which was America leading the global economy by having the global world reserve currency. He went on to talk about the benefits of increasing economic competition with the US. Quote, that's not a loss for America. It's an appreciation that Europe is now rebuilt in a powerhouse. Japan is rebuilt as a powerhouse. China, India, these are all countries on the move, and that's good. Well, he was completely wrong about Europe being the powerhouse, and Japan, because those countries are on the verge of a complete and utter collapse. But the point is there. America is not a leader in the world, in the global economy. Soros has gone on record saying that America is the obstacle to not just world peace, but to this new global economy that he wants to have appointed with technocrats basically running everything. The global reset is upon us, like I just said a little bit earlier. I have all of these articles in front of me that are talking about this. And all of this is facts about what's happening, but I think what's important is to understand the timeline of events here. Soros just last year has the Bretton Woods event. It's hundreds of economic elites, professors, everybody that's from his school of thought, from a Keynesian school of economic thought, shows up to this event. They are planning the global reset of the economy, okay? What's needed for that global reset is some kind of chaos, whether it's Europe collapsing, whether it's Japan's dealing with its 200% debt to GDP level, or whether it's America collapsing, or our economy being rocked, which some event will eventually come to the shores of America. It's just a matter of time. But they've already put the plan in place. This was a year ago that, again, the media, all of the stuff that I'm talking about, this is from mainstream media, but it doesn't make the mainstream media that you're used to watching, CNN or whatever it may be. Many of you don't watch that, but we know the masses do watch it. This is from the Telegraph UK in March of 2009. A world currency moves nearer from Timothy Geithner's slip. U.S. Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner confessed on Wednesday that he had not read the plans by China's central governor for a, quote, super sovereign reserve currency, close quote, run by the International Monetary Fund, but nevertheless let slip that Washington was open to the idea. So Timothy Geithner on record, the Telegraph, on record saying he is open, and so is Washington, meaning Obama and Soros and everybody else who runs the Obama White House. Obama's just a puppet for these people, just like Bush was. They're open for a new world reserve currency. So the plan, the system is in place. It's just, when will the event happen? Now, if we look at past events for this new world order, if you want, and again, it's not my words, it's Time magazine saying Obama's new world order. It's Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister of England, Gordon Brown saying we need a new world order. George Bush saying we need a new world order. What do all these people have in common? Well, all these people, Soros, Gordon Brown, Obama, Clinton, Bush, all of them, Bernanke, they're all members, Newt Gingrich, they're all members of the Council on Foreign Relations. Many of them are members of the Trilateral Commission, absolutely on record. And so they have a plan in place. They believe in globalism. They believe in a global hierarchy where a small centralized group of individuals are running everything. And most recently, we've seen that unfold in Germany and in Italy and in all of Europe. Germany now saying they want direct control over Greece's budget. So they want Greece to give up all sovereignty and allow the Germans to run that. Germany is being blamed by the rest of Europe, including Obama, Soros, and all these people, saying they're the ones to blame. We don't want austerity. We need more money printing. Well, why would we want more money printing if it's going to continue to devalue the currency? Well, because at one point the currency will be so devalued, the reset will take place and we'll need a new world reserve currency. Soros has been on record talking about the emergence of China. And one of the big indications I think we need to see or can look at is the events taking place within China right now and their recent gold purchases, which have been completely astronomical. I mean, they're huge. This is from that crazy conspiracy theory publication that you might know as Forbes magazine. Why the Chinese are buying record quantities of gold. This month, and this is just from a few days ago, this month the Hong Kong Census and Statistics Department reported that China imported 102,000 kilograms of gold from Hong Kong in November, an increase from October's 86 kilograms. Analysts believe China bought as much as 490 tons of gold in 2011, double estimated the amount of 2010, which were 245 tons. They doubled their gold purchases in 2011. The People's Bank of China, the central bank, has been hinting that it is purchasing the gold because Beijing doesn't come out on record and say, here's our gold purchases. It's actually the Hong Kong Census of Statistics, the Hong Kong Census and Statistics Department that reports this. Here's what the central banker of China had to say. Quote, "No asset is safe right now. The only choice to hedge risk is to hold hard currency, gold." Chinese central banker just said this a few days ago. George Soros at Davos talked about how he's not making any investments right now, right? That it's all about surviving. Well, gold, we know, is a form of survival with regard to the economic system. Gold recently has been spiking over $1,700. Silver is over $34 when I saw it today. Was at $26 just end of December. Something is happening right now. And what's happening is that things are accumulating. The quickening is happening. Again, Bretton Woods established a new global economy, a new global economic powerhouse emerged in the United States. Last year, we had another global conference hosted by George Soros. And in that, he talked about replacing the dollar as the world reserve currency. Here in America, we continue to print money like crazy, further devaluing the dollar. I mean, just one example was the continued auto bailouts, which Obama talked about how they were such a huge success, but the reality is that the Treasury had to up the auto bailout. It's looking that it could cost the US government anywhere from $1 billion to $14 billion just on the GM bailout alone. So we are spending money like absolute, I guess drunken sailors is a way of, that's almost an insult to drunken sailors. At some point, this all resets. And the question is, when will it happen and what will trigger it? Well, we know that in the past, it was war that triggered the global reset. After World War II came Bretton Woods. Now the talk and the buildup is for war with Iran, which I believe will be a bigger war, more global in nature. Hillary Clinton just yesterday was pushing the UN and NATO to act in Syria to topple the Syrian government. And how now, after Libya, we need to go in there to further create the destabilization campaign throughout the Middle East. I think a big event is coming in the Middle East. And quite frankly, another big event is on the verge of taking place in Europe. I've told you that Greece will likely default by March. I think that is a pretty accurate timetable, especially now that Germany is seeking to completely take over Greece's sovereignty and say, hey, we're going to take over all your finances. They're not going to put up for that. Neither are the people. The polls overwhelmingly throughout Europe, people are sick and tired of the technocrats, the bailouts, and in Germany specifically, they are tired of having to pay for the rest of Europe. The old hatreds that I've been talking about are emerging. They're coming back. A big event in Europe is just as likely, in my opinion, as a big event in the Middle East. Both, though, are extremely likely. Same thing with Japan. After Fukushima, Japan's economy has been really impacted. The fact that they have a 200% debt to GDP level is completely unsustainable. But investors have only three options, or it's perceived three options. It's either the yen, if they go with Japan, the euro, or the US dollar. All three of these countries and unions are absolutely on fire. So where do they go? Well, the Chinese are going to gold. And could it be that in the global reset, when the global reset does take place, that China emerges with a new gold-backed currency, which I think is definitely a possibility. They're acquiring enough gold, now becoming the 5th largest gold holder, in order to be able to basically emerge as a powerhouse. They're the largest creditor nation to the United States. They're just like England was after the war. England was broke, they owed America a lot of money, and they gave up the British pound sterling of being the currency of the world to the US dollar, and America became its largest creditor nation to England. Well, we are in that same position. And shortly thereafter, with the incidents in the Suez Canal, which you can just do your own research on this, that's when America basically, after we emerged from Bretton Woods, we were able to tell other countries what to do because we held their bonds. And they listened to us, or we would sell all their bonds and their economy would collapse. Well, that's what's happening now. These are the things to look for. The media is not talking about any of this, nor are they talking about the useful idiots at Occupy Wall Street, which are being funded by George Soros and funded by many of these other groups that I've talked about. Again, why does Ben Bernanke, why do all of these Trilateral Commission and all of these members of the Council on Foreign Relations, they all support Occupy Wall Street, all of them, or a great majority of them do? Because again, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. Global revolution, global war, global economic collapse. It's on the horizon, it is coming, it is unfolding right before our eyes. It started a year ago, it started much longer, but a year ago at least is when they laid out a concrete plan for a new world reserve currency. The Chinese, just a few years ago, laid out a plan for the IMF emerging as a new world reserve currency. The plan is in place. The calls for an end to capitalism are all over, and some kind of new order being established. The question is, what do you do about it? Well, first of all, you need to know what's coming. You need to be educated about it. That's why I talk about gold and silver. I don't push any particular company, but I think that if you don't own any type of precious metals, you are insane. I think that the coming times will be times of great sorrow for many, but of tremendous opportunity for those that know what's coming, can adapt, and can move forward. Tremendous opportunity. Quite frankly, as Mike Maloney says, it's the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. And it's going to be from dollar-denominated assets into some kind of new reserve currency, but also into gold, silver, and other commodities, like oil and other things that will, I think, probably may be used as a backer to this global currency. So I rarely ask for you to do this, but I ask that you share this video with people, that you go look up this information. Everything that I said is on record. You can just Google any of it and mainstream articles will come up. The world is changing. Everybody is talking about things that don't even matter. It doesn't matter who wins the presidential election. It doesn't matter if Gingrich or Romney wins and then they go up against Obama. None of that matters. Much of this has already been planned and it's outside of the US. This is the stuff that people need to focus on. This is the information that we need to get out. If the masses were to awaken to this information, then that would slow and stop these people in their tracks because they would know, hey, everybody knows what's going on. We want to be a sovereign country with a sovereign currency and a strong sovereign currency. But the globalists don't want that. Educate your friends, tell your neighbors, do what you can to get the word out. Share this video with friends, or do your own videos, quite frankly. So that will do it for today's installment. I'll be doing some other videos coming up this week about some other important events taking place in Iran, India and Iran, and some I think what are startling events there. Also, the gauntlet has been thrown down by the Catholic Church against the Obama administration. I'm going to talk about that this week as well and get behind that because that's not being covered the way that I think it should be. I'm your internet anchorman, Fabian for Liberty. Thank you for watching. I'm out.